Not to speak out in support of the war in Ukraine and not to use doping. The International Olympic Committee has set such conditions for athletes from Russia and Belarus in order to let them participate in the Olympics 2024. The committee insists that no athlete should be deprived of the opportunity to compete only because of his or her passport.
Only athletes who fully respect the Olympic Charter would participate. This means, in particular, first, only those who have not acted against the peace mission of the IOC by actively supporting the war in Ukraine could compete. Second, only athletes who fully comply with the World Anti-Doping Code and all relevant anti-doping rules and regulations would be eligible, from the statement of the International Olympic Committee.
The organization also confirmed that all other sanctions remain in force. Thus, Russian and Belarusian officials are not invited or accredited to international competitions and meetings. National flags, anthems, and other elements of identification of the countries remain banned. And so, in the case of admission, Russian and Belarusian athletes will perform under a neutral flag. However, any neutrality is out of the question after 11 months of a full-scale war, said Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, and any neutral flag of Russian athletes is stained with the blood of Ukrainians.
Не можна не бути.
One cannot but be disappointed by the statements of the current president of the International Olympic Committee, Thomas Bach. I spoke with him several times, and I never heard how he is going to protect sports from war propaganda if he returns Russian athletes to international competitions. There is no such thing as neutrality when a war like this is going on, and we know how often tyrannies try to use sports for their ideological interests.
The Ukrainian president also invited Thomas Bach to Bakhmut, a town in the Donetsk region that the Russian army has been trying unsuccessfully to seize for months, leveling it to the ground. This is what the city's stadium looks like after one of the shelling. And this is already Chernihiv. The local sports complex was demilitarized by the Russian army in April. And the central stadium in Mykolaiv 2 months later.
When our Ukrainians are killed, when our athletes are killed, when our athletes have no place to train, at the moment 320 sports facilities in Ukraine have already been destroyed by missiles and bombs. 220 athletes, coaches and those who were in the sports industry have already been killed. Then how can we at the same time say that if someone has Russian passports, then he or she should be admitted?
Vadim Hutsait pointed out that Stanislav Poznyakov, president of the Russian Olympic Committee, had previously stated that it was an honor for Russian athletes to fight against Ukraine. That is why the International Olympic Committee's demand to Russian and Belarusian athletes not to support the war is deliberately unrealizable. The Minister of Youth and Sports of Ukraine says that Kyiv may boycott the Olympics in Paris if the International Olympic Committee still allows Russia and Belarus to participate. Reported by Roman Smoler, Valeria Nikipelova, UATV News.